Hello, my name is Eric and I'm doing another one of my photography vlogs called One Body, One Lens, One Roll, One Day. I am here at Chippewa Inlet North. Nice walking area. I've been here a couple times before. First time when all the snow is out. This is Northeast Ohio, of course. It is a January, early February Friday. Supposed to get some more snow and a little bit. Temperature is supposed to drop about another 20 degrees and get below zero on the wind chill, so I figured I'd come out and knock this out. Today's camera, a little unique camera called a Kodak Retina 3C. This is a rangefinder, so I'm actually not looking through the lens. I'm actually looking through a little window. I have loaded it up with some current stock Kodak Kodacolor 200. This is actually being distributed by Eastman Kodak rather than the distribution company Allura or Alara. It's one of those type of names. Kodak is starting to regain control over the distributorship after a restructure probably about 10 years ago. Bankruptcy, had to restructure out of that. Somebody else distributed it. Now they're kind of getting some of their films back. Kodacolor 200 and 400 are out, and I've heard that the Actar 100 is going to be soon distributed by Kodak again, and I think one of the black and whites, I think the T-Max 400. So that's kind of cool. Look for the new style boxes if you want the stuff and support Kodak directly rather than a distributorship. All right, so roll of 36. Unfortunately, I can't tell how many shots I have, so I'm just going to have to kind of shoot. Meter does work, but I did not set it right, or I got to figure out how to set this in because it has to do with DIN numbers, and it is a selenium meter. So I'm just going to play Sunny 16. And Sunny 16 says, on a sunny day at f16, your shutter speed should match your film speed. So I've got my shutter speed at about a 2/50th of a second. And normally I would be at f16. However, it is an overcast day, not a sunny day. So I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it 3 to f5.6. because I set my shutter speed to a 2/50th of a second. So I'm off by 1/3 of a stop on shutter speed, but I'm adjusting by the aperture, and I would rather a little bit of an overexposure than under when it comes to skiing and stuff like that. All right, let's go down the path. Let's see what we can get. All right, so as you can tell, obviously the path has not been plowed or shoveled. No four-wheelers with shovels have gone through, so you got to be careful. There's, I'm assuming, Jeep or four-wheel tracks, which I'm walking in. So make sure that if you're out in rough terrain, you're careful with your equipment, stuff like that. All right, so a couple cool things besides this camera is that most other 35mm wind up on top. This actually winds at the bottom, so as I take a shot, it's a very quiet snick. You may or may not hear that. And you wind it on the bottom. I am keeping, since I'm mostly shooting at a distance, I'm keeping my focus. I do have a manual focus, and it's not a split image like a lot of other SLRs. It's rangefinder, which means as I look through the viewfinder, I see a ghost image on top of the actual image, and then I got to try to line them up. Usually really good if you find verticals, like maybe a tree, and you kind of like line it up, and then you get your focus on your distance there. But I kind of have it set for, since I'm at f6, I'm about 50 feet and beyond. Most cases, that's kind of where I'm at. Sometimes I'll get a little closer, but I mean, 50 feet's not as far as you might think, but maybe it's farther than you think. All right, again, there's a roll of 36. I know I've taken about 10 photos so far. My counter did not reset. This is a weird way to reset this counter, and I don't think I set it right, because it says I'm like a 29. I know I've only taken 10 photos. All right, let's keep going down the path a bit. Let's see what we can get. viewfinder is a little dirty. It's kind of got this yellowing to it, which happens with age. Not a big deal, but it just makes it maybe a little darker than you might think. Plus the fact I got my transition glasses on, I'll bet you look good without it. Still a little yellow, but not as bad as from my glasses. All right, let's keep going. Okay, minimum focus on this camera is about 2.5 feet. Just took a couple photos of the bark here. Hopefully I got it. Rangefinder seemed to pair up just nicely. The only thing I noticed is that the focus knob, when it just starts getting that close, your finger kind of comes up and blocks the viewfinder. So while making a small camera, it's probably not the best design to have your focus thing that close to your viewfinder so your finger gets in the way. All right, let's keep going down that way. Be right back. All right, if I did my count correctly, I got like 2 or 3 photos left. It's getting a little cold out here. I did bring my my gloves on, but my fingers are starting to starting to cramp up a little bit because of cold and the fact that this is a metal camera. Metal gets cold when it's cold outside. All right, so I'm going to take these last 2 shots. Feel free to give them a thumbs up if you like the images. Feel free to comment on your experience with the Kodak. This is the Kodak Color 200. This is the new release from Kodak. This is expired, sorry, this is fresh. It doesn't expire until like 2027, so it's a fresh film. This is the Kodak Retina 3C rangefinder camera. The one thing I did find out though is that to collapse it, you can't hit the normal it in. You have to have your focus at minimum, then you can pinch the upper and bottom. Is it minimum or is it might be maximum? Maximum. All right, maximum focus, and then you can push it right in, and there it is. My little flap for selenium meter doesn't always work. All right, I'm gonna get my last shot or 2, pull that guy back out, be right back.